Hey there, Stampin' friends. Welcome to Movie Monday with Jody Breckbill, Stampin' Queen. Today's card is this adorable little invisible panel fish card using our Seaside Shore stamp set. And when you open it up, it's got a little bit of sponging in here. And then when you close it, the fish kind of look like they're floating in the sea. So let me show you how we made that. This is the stamp set that we used, Seaside Shore. This is actually going to be continuing on in our new catalog, so I'm very excited about that. And let's see, where to start. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is take our piece of Whisper White cardstock and fold that in half. And what I have done is already cut off 1/2 of an inch on the opening side. So I already did that ahead of time. Then I'm going to take my paper trimmer and I want my panel to be 2.5 inches wide. So I'm going to take the fold, I'm going to put it right on the 2.5, and I'm going to cut that little extra off. I don't know how much it is, 1 1/4 maybe. And you don't need that, that's just scrap. And you could use that a little bit later for stamping your fish or something like that. Now I'm going to take the little 1/2 inch that I cut off. I want to lay it back here on the edge of my card and just do a little tiny pencil line right at the top and right at the bottom. That can move out of the way. And then I'm going to do the same thing. That doesn't seem like it's very even. Let me even that up a little bit more. A little teeny pencil line here. You'll erase these later. But this just gives you a little idea of where you need to do your sponging for the inside. Now, I'm going to take the most amazing invention ever, Post-it note tape. And I'm going to pull off a long piece, and I'm just going to attach it right where my pencil marks are. So I kind of want them to meet. That's just my visual, right at those pencil lines. And that is going to block off the rest of our card, so we'll be able to do our sponging. So I'm taking a little bit of crumb cake ink and my sponge dauber, and I'm just going to do a little bit at the bottom, and that's my sand. Whoops, we had this problem in my class. My ink pad is broken, and I'm not going to fix it on camera. We'll do that a little bit later. All right, same thing with our pool party. We're just going to get a little bit of ink, and I'm just going to sponge and just bring that down to meet your sand. Make sure that you're getting the edges well, because you don't have to be afraid. That Post-it note tape is protecting your edges. Okay, then I'm going to take my Post-it note tape off very carefully. It should peel just fine, but I do like to be careful. I'm going to close that just to make sure there's no gaps. If there's a gap, put your tape back on and go ahead and do a little bit more sponging. Then you can also erase those little lines that you just made if you still see them. I really can't see them in the brown, so not really a problem. All right, so a little bit of stamping on the inside. I'm going to use Mint Macaron. Goodbye, Mint Macaron. I've loved you so. June 1st, he'll be gone. So I just do a little bit here, one little seaweed, and then I'm just going to kind of do some little background seaweeds there off my card. Calypso coral, and we're going to do a couple little starfish. And then my Dapper Denim is for the sentiment that comes with the stamp set called our saying, hope your day goes, ha ha ha. That could be disastrous. Hold on to your stamps, girls. Hope your day goes swimmingly. And I'm going to do that to the left so that we don't see it when our card is closed. Now, my ink is pretty, that Dapper Denim is very inky, so I'm going to let that have a second to dry while I pull in my little fish. One thing I do want to mention, this card I found on the internet. I think it was on Pinterest, and I'm not sure who the person was, so thank you whoever was very creative and made this card, but it is not my invention. Little bit of Wink of Stella. Now, Dapper Denim is not a waterproof ink. The only waterproof inks that we have are Basic Gray and Basic Black, which means anything that is wet will smear our other inks. Dapper Denim being one of them. So a blender pen, an aqua painter, a Wink of Stella pen all have a wet solution in them, but I wanted to glitter the stripes on my angelfish. So very carefully, and that really is nice with that fine tip point that the Wink of Stella has, you can just run some glitter down along his stripes, and he'll have a little bit of sheen to him because, you know, fish are always very sparkly. Now you want to let him have a little bit of drying time too. And I know that Wink of Stella just does not, the camera does not do justice to Wink of Stella. So if you've been using it like I use it, you know how much you love it and how it just gives that little bit of pop of shimmer and sheen to your project. Same with the little fish. Now I'm going to do his body underneath, a little shimmery, and then I took a blender pen and very carefully colored the yellow in there without bleeding it. Now what I do want to do is bleed his fins a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and winker in his fins, and you can see how they're kind of turning a little bit of light blue as I've bled the Dapper Denim ink with my winker pen. But that just helps him stand out a little bit. I am cleaning the tip off just a smidge so that my next project doesn't have blue on it. Okay, so those guys are then hand cut out. I did a Hoy then in Calypso Coral, all hand cut, no dyes for those suckers. Sorry about that. Now, we're gonna come back. I'm gonna put a little bit of snail adhesive on my white 1/2 inch stripe. And oh Lord, okay, I need, invisible window sheet is somewhere in my area. Here it is. Okay. Woo! All right. This is a window sheet, and sometimes they're very hard to find because they're see-through. So I'm going to take a little bit of a piece about 2 inches, and I'm going to attach that to that little strip of white cardstock. Then strip of snail adhesive down the edge. And don't worry about being able to see it, not see it, because it all gets covered up. I'm going to put that white piece right back where it belonged on my card. And then just lay that window sheet down across there. So that's what creates that clear window for your fish to float on. So you can see how it's coming along, right? I took the same size pieces of Pool Party, ran them through the Seaside embossing folder, and you know what, I don't know which side I like a little better. I'm going to attach that, and that's going to be the cover up. And don't be sparse on that mono adhesive or that snail, because you definitely want it to be sticking, especially with the window sheet being involved. Okay, so that's going to go on top of the 2.5 inch side, and then this one goes on the 1/2 inch side. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, So now you have the front of your card, and then on the inside, you still see where that's white cardstock right there. So it's not just clear window sheet or any adhesive sticking through. Now all we need to do is just to attach those little fish. And I didn't want my adhesive to show through, so I just did some snail adhesive kind of on their tails only. So they kind of look like they're floating a little bit. I'm way down, I'm off camera. Sorry about that. I'm trying to work so I can see and not so you guys can see. Okay, a little adhesive on that guy. He's going to swim up. And then my yellow fish is going to have a little bit of a dimensional. So I'm just going to cut a little snip piece for him. Kind of just went back towards his tail a smidge. Touch him there in the middle. And then my ahoy there is going to kind of stick a little bit behind him. But I still want it to be able, still want you to be able to read it. Okay, now our final step then is to take some of our basic pearls, and we're just going to put those like they're little bubbles coming out of the fish. So you just kind of swirl them around. Now with using the bigger pearls, probably if you mailed this one, it would be an added expense. The 70-some cent stamp, I think, just because they are a little bit thick, those big ones. Coming along, little bubbles out of their mouth. Okay, and there you have it. There's our little window card. Fun and simple and cute. So thanks so much for joining me, everybody. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week for Movie Monday.